Okay, we are live. You can hear me, I can hear you lot. This interview is something it's actually like this is a bucket list kind of thing. I know a lot of you hit me up before. I've actually got hit up today a few times like, yo, you need to interview Blade, and it's something I've wanted to do, and we're just gonna get straight into it. I don't really need to introduce Blade too much because you lot know what he's done, but we're gonna talk about that as well. So I want to say a big hold up. Let me turn my mic off. Cool. I want to say a big welcome to the one they call Blade, man. How you doing, bro?
Yo, Genesis, how you doing, bro? I know we met a few times over the years and everything,
Yeah,
but yeah, this is obviously a surreal situation. I can't. Yeah, thanks for interviewing me, and yeah, good to catch up again, even though it has been a few
it
years.
has been. I think one of I guess our longest conversation we had, I was selling CDs.
Mhm.
I can't even remember even where it was, and so I'm selling CDs. Yeah, boom, 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 and then I see you kind of like you walk up, and I'm like, raw, nah, is that Blade? Like, nah, it can't be. And then you just come out and you're just like, yo, you say Jonathan. I'm like, what? Like, it was crazy. And that conversation, I kind of just stopped selling CDs. Then I was just like, let me just talk. And we had a good conversation. And this was, this was like 2006, 2007 times, man. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I can tell you exactly where it was. It was on a road in Maidstone called Week Street.
Oh, yes. Maidstone, Kent. Yeah, do you know what day that was? I'll tell you what happened that day, yeah? So what happened is Mike GLC was there as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right. So I was with AC. Yeah, we're looking for places to go to sell CDs, and he's like, "Oh, we should go to Maidstone." I was like, "All right, cool, let's do it." So we pulled up. We've gone up there, and then we just seen bare man them like all up and down the road. I'm thinking like, who are these people? Like, how do these people know about this area? And
Mhm.
I got up to one of them like, "Yo, who you with?" And they're like, "Oh, Mike's up the road, innit?" I'm like, "Mike who?" They're like, "Mike GLC." I'm like, "He's here, yeah." I'm like, "Oh." So I walked down a little further. See, no, he must have. He had man. What he used to do. Guys who like never had a job come out on day release, he would get them selling his CDs. He must have had at least 5, 10 man up there selling his CD up and down, and he was just sitting at the top, just collecting the money, man. But like, it was one of the wild situations that Mike was involved in, man. But it was definitely a good time, and we had a good chat.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I knew Mike was there, but I don't think on the day I saw Mike. I saw a couple of his
Yeah,
like runners thing, and I saw you and I saw AC. But yeah,
yeah.
I can.
He was chilling at a cafe somewhere. Like we walked all the way up, and then we saw him like right he was with some girls just chilling, and he's just like, yeah, you lot might as well go home, man, because we got this place locked. He's like, all right, cool. But yeah, man,
So,
good
yeah,
times, good times. So let
yeah,
me,
definitely. And it was the very early stages of the business I started. So when you were on the street selling
yeah,
CDs, I was just kind of remembering. Obviously, I used to sell my vinyl on the streets, and then I
yeah,
started a CD business. So
yeah.
the first thing I saw was that, yo, you guys are doing your CDs. If you're getting them from any other company, I undercut by half the price.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you telling me about the printers, the setup you had, and everything. Like, yeah, it was early in the game when you were just kind of taking it over. We'll get to that in a minute though, because
Yeah, no
you
worries.
got to a point where I think everyone who's had hard copies got their hard copies from you,
Mhm.
and I think
But not everyone, but quite a lot.
quite the guys who wanted the quality came to you. So we'll
Shit.
we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. But
Yeah.
I was doing a little bit of Blade research here because obviously my introduction to your music didn't
Mhm.
come until probably I'm probably 2000.
Yep.
And that was literally when I first started rapping and getting to a place where hip hop was where UK hip hop was something I was looking into. And
Mhm.
at the time I was working in Virgin Megastore,
Mhm.
and I think we had your vinyl, and this was just before, I think the single drop before the album, the Unknown album.
Mhm.
And I remember just kind of checking that, and obviously my DJ Answer, so I used to go around, he used to like play me stuff, and we listened to that, and then the album dropped, and I remember just kind of going through it and listening and being like, raw, nah, this is cold. And this, I think this is probably one of the first UK albums that I listened to, like start to finish, back to front, and then I kind of went back and listened to some of your older stuff. But you've
Mhm.
been in this game for a very long time, like When was your first? When did your first release drop?
I mean, like I started like at the end of 1979. I started rapping and just basically just doing things for the hell of it and whatever. Then obviously the next transition was going over to Covent Garden and hanging out with all the hip hoppers, and you know what I mean. So we were all about building a scene. So in terms of where it all began for me, I would say it was as soon as I heard Sugar Hill Gang. You know, and that was a starting point. After that, it's like, you know, I would literally just be sitting and converting my poetry into flows, because I used to write a lot of poetry when I was young.
Okay.
Convert the poetry into flows, and like, you know, I mean, the flows were basic back in the days. It was literally like ABC rapping.
Yeah.
The guys that we were influenced by, they were all basic rappers at the time. It wasn't until you had your Eric B and Rakim and LL Cool J came along that made the difference.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I remember there was a group called Nucleus with a record called Jam on It, and when I made the transition for me, it was like I was listening to Jam on It. I wrote all the lyrics down, I memorized them, and every time it came on, I was rapping along with them.
Right.
And for me, that was like, yeah, I could do this, because before then, the only test with my lyrics was to me and a couple of friends, but they didn't know how to judge you. Because we were in the game before anyone else was doing it, you know, we were kind of like, all right, we need something that people can kind of compare.
Yeah.
And you know, so so I learned the Jam on It lyrics. I basically started performing that to my friends, and everyone's like, yeah, you can rap. And then I started like bit by bit adding my lyrics to other people's instrumentals and whatever. So, you know, that was the early point. But obviously records didn't start coming out till 89, even though we had stuff recorded from 86,
right.
80.
Okay.
It didn't start coming out till 89.
Because Chart Moves came out, that was 88, right?
You know what? Chart Moves is an interesting one, because I had this manager, Dave Klein, really good guy. He was a unique personality. You either like him or you don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I really liked Dave. I thought he was a really cool dude. But I mean, he was managing me, and at the time I was just going out there, jumping on stages wherever I could and whatever, and making a name for myself. And you know, he was going and introducing me to people in the industry. And I remember he took me to Biggin Hill, and we went into this guy's house, and the house was some big mansion type house, and there was a big old driveway about 100 meters or longer going up to the house. And they just bought this house. It was completely empty. And then when we went back a couple of weeks later, there was loads of furniture and stuff, and it just looked like these guys were money men.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But they wanted to invest in a game that Dave had, and the game was called Chart Moves, and it was like a Monopoly game based around the music industry.
Okay.
All right, so that's what Chart Moves is about. It was a Monopoly, and it was all based around the music industry. Now, Dave knew all the rules inside out. He explained as much to me as possible, but then he gave me a manual that they had, and you know, for a little while, it just seemed like his mission was to get Chart Moves out there, and I was kind of put on the back seat.
Right. Okay.
So he was kind of saying, I've got this young guy, he's talented, you want to sign him, blah blah, getting into the meetings, and then when we're there, he wouldn't talk about me, he would talk about the game.
Right. Okay.
You know? So I ended up just like saying, you know what, let me get the game out of the way, and then we can focus on me.
Right.
But then I got the game out of the way, and I wrote the lyrics, I rapped it, I performed it, whatever. They made like about 5,000 copies of the vinyl to promo. And then it was just like everything was focused on the game. So my next move was, Dave, you know what? No disrespect, but you can't use the vinyl with my voice on it. You can take the lyrics, you can take whatever you want, you can take the music, just take whatever you want.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I don't want nothing to do with it. You know, I need to focus on me. It's like, you know, I'm not the priority anymore in your game.
Right.
I mean, so, you know, I didn't lose any respect or anything for him, because, you know, I love the way he had a drive.
Yeah.
You know, but I just couldn't stay there and make my man's career work and my career fall back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, I had to take care of me. You know, I didn't have family to like jump on if anything went wrong or whatever. It was just me.
Yeah.
So when you see that you're no longer the priority, and you're more of a sort of like I don't know, the bait to get into the companies and whatever.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was time to move on.
So
You know what I mean?
you were basically being used. He's using your talent basically to kind of push
I
his
wouldn't,
agenda or.
I wouldn't really say that, because there was one time in the early stages where he was just focusing on me all the time. It was
Right.
like, yo, this guy, everywhere I went, I was meeting like people like Aswad and whatever,
See.
and it was all through him. I was just meeting all these people, and we're just like, rah, where are all these people coming from?
Yeah.
And there was so many well-known people, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it was, he had his focus, but then once his game was in motion,
Yeah.
like that was it. While the game was still in the planning stages for him, I was still a priority. As
Yeah.
soon as the game came into the equation, it's like, you know what, you're not important anymore.
I get you. I get you.
And I just even though I was young, I was like 15, 16 at the time. I just thought, you know what, I can't stay around.
See.
My own thing, you know what I mean?
So you were super young, like at that time.
Yeah, I was young. I was like probably 16, going on 17.
Seeing. It's funny,
So-
a lot of people I speak to, it's kind of like everyone has their first brush with the industry around kind of that time, that age, and I feel like a lot of us get you see the bright light, like you're saying, you're meeting all these different people, you're seeing big houses, you're going into record labels, offices, and seeing kind of things, and sometimes it can kind of, it makes you, obviously if you don't know anything about the business, it kind of makes you feel a little bit overwhelmed, and that's a lot of times that's how that people end up in bad situations. So then what did you do after that to kind of position yourself into a place where you were more a priority or more in control of what you were doing?
Well, after that, I just basically focused on recording. I hooked up with a producer called Master Mix, who's a really, really good producer at the time. He was just like one of the names that everybody wanted to work with in the scene.
Right.
But for me, it's like there was no one better than him.
See.
Simple as that. The way that guy was programming beats on the SP12 was just killer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just the way his brain thought, and the way for me, it was like he was encouraging me more than anybody else was, and he was
Right.
constantly like, he was like, I see something in you that I don't see in others.
See.
He was just constantly on my case, like, yeah, you can make it, you can make it, you can make it. So, with what he was saying, even though I had all the the negative stuff going on and whatever, there was always that little bit of hope that this guy that I have a lot of respect for is looking up to me, and when no one else is around, he's sitting me down and, you're the one.
Right.
Yeah. And and that to me was like so we basically hooked up, and that to me was like the beginning of when I realized what I can achieve. Do you know what I mean? Because we started recording, and all of a sudden I'm hearing like finished things. It's not demos anymore. Now I'm hearing stuff that I can finish and go, yeah, this is gonna smash it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it really.
That's you kind of mentioned a little bit. You mentioned the Covent Garden scene.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of MCs, rappers, DJs that I speak to that came up around that time, they talk about that scene being the epicenter of hip hop at the time.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? What was it like? What was the vibe like? And who were you around in that environment?
Okay. I mean, look, for me in the beginning, it was hard because I think it was hard for anybody really in the beginning, because we used to kind of get bullied by the elders a little bit.
Right.
I mean, but because we were trying to get in there, it was like you had to kind of prove yourself before the bullying kind of stopped.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And basically, when I first went there, I went there with one of my school friends, a guy called Flyboy, who was already in Covent a couple of months or whatever. And when he was watching what I was doing, because we all had a breakdance crew and a body popping crew and whatever, and we all did our little bit. But he was just like, look, you know what? Forget all the other guys in the crew. They haven't got the same hunger you have. I can see you want to do this. You know what? Let's go Covent, and I'll introduce you to everyone. So went Covent. That was late '82. And then basically started meeting everybody. And then a beatboxer called Yankee, who used to be in treble and bass and treble, with Sipo.
Right.
And so basically Yankee saw what I was doing. He heard me rap and everything, and he was just like, yo, all this, I see how people are towards you and everything. Move with me, and that'll change. So, I started moving with Yankee. Yankee kind of took me under his wings and was my mentor because I was also beatboxing at the time. So we had Yankee. There was obviously Flyboy. I used to hang out with Pogo out there. There was also a DJ called Blue, and also a guy called Motion J. Then bit by bit started getting there with the likes of Danny Francis, Cat Feathers, Hervez, the usual names, the names that normally come up when you talk about Coven.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, there was there was a little following slowly building up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For what I was doing. So every time I went there after say about 3 or 4 months, like people started accepting me a little bit,
Yeah.
and then next when it's like, yo, there's my boy, and then all of a sudden more people accepting you. But it was hard work. But you know what? You said the word kind of like the epicenter.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. It's like I remember in the early stages when things were kind of like going off. All of a sudden, we're hearing like people like Mantronics are coming to London to get b-boys to get in the videos from Covent Garden.
See.
I was like, rah, we lot's getting there. And then we see like like London All Stars and sorry, one sec. We see people like London All Stars and all that in the videos.
Yeah.
Like on TV and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Now I'm talking to like Dolby all the time. We had lost contact for a lot of years, but now we're talking to Dolby all the time, and things are like you're starting to see people linking you to footage that we saw when we were 15, 16.
Right. I get you. It's funny as well, yeah.
Even like the school that I was at, one of the kids in our school, I think it was John Madweek, his name was. And he was on what's that? Blue Peter. He was on Blue Peter.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're like, wow, there's John. What's he doing? He's breakdancing on Blue Peter. And if he can get on TV, we can get on TV.
It's, it's funny, yeah. Like the way you talk about it. Obviously, coming up a little bit later, our Covent Garden was kind of like Camden, like around WKD and Kung Fu. That was like our kind of like, that was where we all kind of grew from. And it's funny you saying about you kind of you got to earn your stripes, and that's kind of how it was. It's like the first time you come up, I'll be trying to get an open mic. No one wants to give me the mic. The second time I come up, like I saw you last time. Jump on, what you got? I might bust something, and you know what I mean, you get the nod from whoever was there. It might be whoever, Black Twang or whatever. And then the next time you come, it's like, oh yeah, I know you, yeah, come up, man. And it's like you just slowly just kind of build who you are when you're around people that are kind of pushing that scene.
Yeah, I mean, bro, you know that saying, life goes in cycles.
Yeah, man, for real.
And same, it's the cycles. It's just different scenario because like where you had your clubs and your venues that you used to go to and do what you're doing and meet everybody.
Yeah.
Like you were paying to get into venues and you were meeting people in the venues. With us, Covent Garden was the venue.
Yeah, yeah.
And every Saturday you'd see anything between sort of a couple of hundred to like 500-600 kids.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? And there was no club or I mean there were clubs we went to obviously, but I'm saying on a Saturday or a Sunday. Or sometimes during the holidays, you'd go there and they'd be like Ozzy's crew constantly breaking because, they're basically like Covent Garden's fixture. They're there. Wherever there's a weekend coming, Ozzy's crew is out there breaking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And funny, like about Ozzy's crew, I bumped into him last summer, just purely by chance. I was like, wow, that's Ozzy,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's But I'm saying, like, you lot, your generation, you had the clubs and people went there for a specific reason and whatever. But we lot didn't have any of that. We were the starting point.
Yep.
We had to put our own club nights out.
Yep.
I remember, like, when we were in Woolwich, we lot used to hire, like, the local council halls and, like, gyms and college, like, school gyms and stuff like that to put events on ourselves. And we used to ram those events. Like literally, they'd be like, if we had a 600 capacity venue, it was rammed. If we had a 1,000 capacity venue, it was rammed. But generally, every weekend we'd have house parties that would go on pretty much all weekend, and everyone used to get there, used to jump on the mic all the time, and and like the DJs we were with, they all used to jump on and DJ, and it was sick, bro. It was a really really energetic vibe, and it was all good. apart from when it was all bad.
I think like every era has their, you know what I mean, you have that element kind of attached to it, and I, you know what I mean, I've heard the stories, and you know what I mean, it's interesting. You know what, there needs to be a few more kind of documentaries, or that time needs to be documented a bit more, because I don't think people really, like you said, things move in cycles, and I don't think people even see the parallels. And it's so funny because, again, I can only speak from my generation, but with the new guys now, you hear with grime and drill, you hear the same narratives going over and over again, and it's it must be I can only imagine for you, you've seen this many times over. Like you're looking, you're like what's it in a Game of Thrones, the Raven or the whatever he is. You're seeing everything. You've seen it all. So
yeah. You know what, the thing is, and I hate to say this, but I feel there's some sense to it, right? But I feel like every generation that's come in has pretty much forgotten the previous generation that was there, or maybe not necessarily the previous generation, but like 2 generations down.
100%.
Yeah, and bit by bit, it's like us lot, like, you know, me, your London Possies, your Demon Boys and whatever, as much as like our fans know who we are, it's almost like we're purposely forgotten.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, the thing is, when you talk about rock music and stuff like that, you're never going to forget Jimi Hendrix was there. When you talk about martial arts, you're never going to forget that Bruce Lee was there. So what's wrong with letting everyone know that Demon Boys were there, or Blade was there, or MC Mello was there, or Gunshot was there? You know, instead of like just putting us out there in the small doses, because we put a lot of work in.
Yeah.
All of us, every one of us from the old school put a lot of work in. You know what I mean?
100%. I think, sorry to cut you off. I had this conversation another time. I was selling CDs and I bumped into Gunshot. And Comanche Sly. And the conversation, it was so funny because it was a day I was selling CDs during the day, and I had a show, an interview at 1Extra later on in the day, and as I've gone to Oxford Circus, I've gone to sell him a CD, but I didn't know who he was. Like, I didn't know his face like that. So I've gone to sell him a CD, and he's just like,
come on, man, that was like the biggest.
But that's exactly what I'm saying, because again, it's like, the generation that's put in front of you is just it's who's around you, and obviously you notice it's always very cliquey, and for me, it took a lot for me to go back and really be a historian of like who did what, who is what, and being around certain people and going like, who do these people respect, and I think it's different, obviously, because obviously you transcend a lot of that, so you can't really put you in. We can put you in the generation before us, but also when I was coming up, you were very prominent. You've been making music up until you had music coming out, albums dropping when I was dropping albums, when I was dropping mixtapes. So on that level, I've always seen you as, you know what I mean, you roll with all different eras, and everyone respects you. But there are a lot of MCs, DJs, B-boys who don't really get the same amount of shine or love just because of their visibility. But you're 100% right. Like I feel like people say this all the time. People hit me up and like, yo, do you know what? If it wasn't for you, them man like Gigs and them wouldn't be doing it. I'm like, nah, I don't, like, me personally, I don't see it that way, but I understand you're not even supposed to. I think hip hop's different. Like rock and roll, they do have a certain reverence for those who come before them. But I feel like with hip hop and rap, because it's so competition based, your job is like, you're trying to kill, you kill to get on, and once you're on, you're trying to kill everybody, and then the next lot are gonna come through, they're gonna kill you, and it just moves on. And I do think a lot does get lost. A lot of history gets lost, and we end up doing silly things like saying, who's the best MC, and then we miss out a whole bunch of MCs that.
You see that. So here's I had this conversation a few weeks ago with somebody. Actually, not a few weeks ago, a few months ago, but then last week someone mentioned it to me, and it came up in a conversation again.
Right.
And there was a thing where they were talking about the 25 most influential rappers in the country.
Yep.
And whenever they do things like that, right, and they leave out my name, I feel a little bit offended, I'll be honest.
You should do.
Yeah? But the only reason why I don't really care anymore is because I've got a life outside of music. But if music was all that mattered to me, that would hurt me. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because the number of people that come and say they got into hip hop because of me.
Yeah.
Right. Or I learned how to do things independently because of you.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? It's like, you done this for me. And on top of that, you transcended that into a business and you helped everyone else.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. You kept prices down. You gave people credit notes. You gave, do you know what I mean? You helped people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if that's not influencing other people, then I don't know what
is.
Because realistically, when you look at the streets, right, who is documented as the first person to stand on the streets and say, fuck the labels and do it themselves?
That was you, 1992.
Say again?
That was you, way back from the first album.
Because I was selling cassette tapes in '86, bro.
Jeez.
Right? So it goes even back before that. So, you know, there was cassette tapes floating around on the streets in '86, '87. You know, were all like really simple demo stages with tracks like Me and My Hat, Hit and Run, and, you know, things like that. It was just silly things, you know what I mean? When Run DMC did my Adidas, I did Me and My Hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm just saying, like, when I see, like, one of the people that was in the thing where they were making, in the, what you call it, the 25 most influential rappers, and one of the guys is the press agent that was my press agent, and he's following me around and he's seen everything. And a year before, he's done a 25 years celebration of my first double album, and he's talked about, and then, you know, you could talk about all the other rappers, and then there was Blade. Yeah. But where's my name, Angus?
Yeah. See.
You're a great press agent and you're one of my best friends and all that. Where's my name? You know what I mean? Influence doesn't just come through being a good rapper or a good producer. It comes through helping people make change. And if all these people that are standing on the streets selling CDs didn't somehow get the idea come from something I did that someone else copied, and then someone else copied, and then someone else copied. Do you get what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah.
Where's my respect for what I did? I turned down major deals to do this, to show people there was another way. You know, so but it is, bro. You know what I mean? It's like I'm a big man now. I learned to let things like that go, even though when it happens, I'll question it. Yeah. I'll be like, keep mentioning everybody, but you always avoid me.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. I think, you know? I think like what you said, man. There is that amnesia, man. People do forget, like who really put. I think another part of it is as well. A lot of people want credit for things that they didn't really do. And to big,
but the thing is, but you see, sorry to cut you in, bro. But you see, like when we did the Unknown album, you would have had to been living under a rock or in a cave or something to not know that we made a difference. So where's my recognition for the difference we made there? So that's even true. If you missed out the difference that I made from selling cassettes on the streets or selling vinyl on the streets, where's the recognition for the difference we made with the Unknown album? You can't tell me we didn't make a difference.
And that was, to me, that was massive as well. Because like I said, I was working at Virgin Megastore at the time. And you wouldn't see a lot of UK music come through. You see a few come through on the shelves and sit there, but you wouldn't see, like I had a conversation earlier, I think the other day, I think it was with Nova, and I was talking about, you remember how they would take a certain amount of CDs per store, right? So
yeah, of course.
Right, so most would be like, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 per store. That'd be a lot. Your album, you had a shelf. They would have like the end shelf, and they had. I remember being there, and they had your CD up at the end shelf. You had the artwork, and they had a couple of others they would put around it to kind of sell UK. But it was really your album was really like the foundation of a lot of people actually looking for UK music in these shops, because a lot of times people would never you wouldn't really go to a mainstream shop to buy a UK hip hop CD. And I think yours was the first, while I was working there for a little while, was the first CD I saw where now they're not doing 1 or 2 per store. They got 50 per store. They got a couple of boxes of that down there. And we got people coming in going, yo, where's the CD? And I think, you really would have to be living under a rock to not really see the impact that had and how that changed the game.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making. You know, and I'm not saying it just in terms of Mark B and Blade. I'm saying it in terms of anybody else, like, that deserves more credit for what they did. Like your Gunshots. They should be humongous stars.
Yeah.
Like they should be remembered in the same way that Jimi Hendrix was remembered. And your Demon Boys.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like your MC Mellows, your Hijacks.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like there's so much out there, bro. So much. And I just don't feel like our generation got the rightful respect or credit for what they did. Because they didn't have the tools that you got today.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still made waves. And you know what? When at the moment I'm getting some building work done, so I internet's cut off and whatever. Sorry, my computers are switched off all the time because the electrics are off.
Right.
But when I get back on the internet, I'm gonna post a picture of a shipment of records that I had going to Germany. When I say like there's a corridor which is about five meters long, right?
Yeah.
And it's just boxes from the door all the way to the steps, which is 5 meters long, right? And there's a photo with like a box of 100 vinyl, 3 stacks, and then basically the box is going all the way. So 3 or 4 on a stack.
Yeah.
And just to show you how much we were selling back then, I was sending out 10,000, 12,000 vinyls to a distributor in Germany when they placed a pre-order. That was a pre-order.
But see,
And then
that's crazy.
2 weeks later, they came back for another 10,000.
But see,
You know what I mean?
okay. So this is the thing though, right? So I see it in like it's kind of swings and roundabouts here. So a lot of your generation, the generation that came a little bit after you. So we're talking like Rodney P, Black Twang, then a little further. I kind of
Rodney P didn't come after me. Rodney was already
that's
there.
that's true, but he you know how Rodney he's like you as well, man. Man just transcends the whole
from generation to the next generation to the next one. Do you know what I mean? So he's been relevant throughout
100%.
But generation.
The point I'm making is though, I feel like you guys had it's like every generation has more fame, but less control over what they do. And actually, for some of them, especially on the independent level, they actually have less money and less security. So one of the things we see a lot. So we do see a lot of people saying, let's talk about in my generation. Let's talk about my MCs around me, Kalashnikov, those kind of that group, right? So yes, you see a lot of people complain about, you know what, we should be bigger, we should have more. But at the same time, we've been in a situation where we've been able to make real money from music before they kind of took the bottom out of it through like I made real money from CDs. I know Clash made real money from shows, and he's maybe a bad example because he's still killing it. But there's a lot of guys who were in situations where they could have done more with it but didn't. So so then to me, I'm always like, yeah, you should be more secure financially, but at the same time, there's a lot of opportunities that you had that artists will never get again. Like you're saying, there's no one's taking a picture of hard copies like you're gonna post. No one's doing it anymore. The game's changed, so it's it swings and roundabouts, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what I was saying? It's like when I was talking about back in the days, what I was talking about was more that when people talk about people that have made moves and whatever, there should be I feel there should be a little bit more mention of the people that actually did pave the way. Yeah. Even people that were there before myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because there was, realistically, other people, they got the opportunities before me because I wasn't getting a deal. I wasn't being offered anything. You know what I mean? Then I came along and decided, screw all the labels. I'll do it myself. Then I started getting deals offered, turned them down, carried on doing the independent thing. And, I made good money. I was on tour constantly and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, all I'm saying is I don't think it's the money thing that I'm even talking about. Yeah. Okay. I'm talking about, just like people are forgetful that those people existed.
I hear you.
And I just think that when you talk about the history of Kung Fu and you mention Bruce Lee, you're never going to forget Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And in the same way, as much as people will look at Bruce Lee in the big glorified way, some of us look at Demon Boys in a big glorified way, or Gunshot in a big glorified way. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, with us being artists, we've acknowledged that, we might never make the same kind of money all these other people make. and just give us a little bit of respect for what we did.
I think you give me an idea, man. You give me an idea. I think I'm gonna do a historical documentary going back and just tracing the lineage of where we are today and where it's come from. Because I do think that a lot of people, you're 100% correct, man. A lot of people kind of skip over that those different eras.
But you know what? The thing is, in the same way that I feel maybe the youngers have forgotten about us, I feel a lot of the elders and a lot of the people that are elders that are watching this, you're probably going to hate me for saying this, but I really don't care. Yeah, I feel that there's a lot of youngers that are coming in with a lot of fire, and they're really good at what they do. Yeah, but your ears are so kind of like tuned to what was going on 30 years ago. You're scared to give these kids an opportunity, and they did an opportunity. They're good. Yeah. Some of these guys, serious MCs. Yeah. Like if you just because your ears are not tuned, to their taste in music, it doesn't mean you should forget that these guys are skilled rappers. They're talented.
100%. It's funny you say that. I remember probably 2014, I think. I was doing some youth work, and this was the first time I really heard like the drill sound that's out now. And I remember listening and going, and these guys were like freestyling of like drill. The flow's different, innit? And I was like, I could never get that. I was like, right, this flow is mad. Like, how are you not rapping over this beat like that? And like you just said, like your ears are just tuned to things differently. And I feel like a lot of people don't really give it the time of day. And I was guilty of that way back in the day when grime first started coming out, and having this attitude of, yeah, but they're not real lyricists. You know what I mean? Like that. How dumb that sounds now, but.
Yeah, and that's the general thing. And the reason why you say they're not real lyricists is because we as MCs and people that grew up in hip hop and whatever, we got used to hearing like stories in life being told. Yeah. Yeah, and then there was just the skill or the party rap and whatever. But in grime, we weren't really hearing that. We were just hearing about Shankman this, Shankman that, and whatever. And and no, I haven't got the coronavirus. Right. So just basically what I was trying to say is like these guys for about 2 or 3 months when the grime scene came in, I was finding it a little bit hard to adjust to it because it was a new sound. Yeah. But because of the business I was doing, the CD business. Yeah. For me, the adjustment became easy because I was doing a lot of CDs for a lot of the grime artists. Yep. And I was listening to every CD I was burning. Same. And I was listening to these guys and thinking, fuck me, these guys are good. Yeah. I mean, and that's when I started listening to all these other MCs, you know what I mean? Yeah. So when I've had some of the elders from my generation as fans who are now producing or making music or running a record label, they come to my place and they sit down and we talk, and you know what I mean? And they're playing me old school hip hop. And I'm like, bro, it's like, I have to be honest, man. My ears are now adjusted to listening to Bugsy Malone. Yeah. I can't sit there and listen to the old school stuff because I've been there. Yeah. What's the point of being stuck in the past? You know what I mean? That doesn't take anything away from everything that was being made back in the day, because I still listen to, like, when I get the opportunity, I'll fling on Follow the Leader. Yeah. You know what I mean? Can't beat kind of records and whatever. Simple as. That's my favorite hip hop record of all time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. But it's funny you mentioned Bugsy Malone. I don't think outside of rappers or industry heads, I don't think a lot of people actually realize how many CDs you are manufacturing, like who you are manufacturing CDs for, and how influential your business was to getting a lot of artists now that have blown up and doing other things. There's a lot of names that you could mention that came through your studio. I could
mention just about 3-4 weeks ago, just before the lockdown, I'd done some CDs for Chipmunk. Sick. I remember Doomy, Tiny's manager, Tiny Temper's manager, coming to me to get CDs done, and then Tiny was coming around here to collect the CDs. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I've done all of them. Everybody, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So do you know what I'm saying? Like the list goes on, but obviously it's not a name dropping game or anything.
Nah, it's just.
So it's no point doing that. But what I'm saying, like for me, I think in some ways the elders are like, the youngers don't respect our music. But it goes two ways. Yeah. You don't respect their music. You know what I mean? And, there has to be a bit of give and take. Me as an elder, I love listening to the youngers and going, yo, that guy was spitting heavy shit. Yeah. Oh, my God. You know what I mean? And if anything, it's like just being a retired artist burning CDs. It's like when I write lyrics for fun, I'm inspired by what these youngers are doing,
See,
and I want to come up with the fire that they've got because I'm hearing elders, and I'm just hearing that not much has changed. They're still doing what they did 30 years ago.
100%. It's funny. So I was
And
gonna.
like I said, a lot of the elders that are listening to this are probably gonna hate me for saying this, but that's the truth.
See,
Do you know what I mean? It's like that's the truth coming from me. I'm not gonna bullshit you.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? But all I'm saying is, look, you got children there. Yeah, your children are not gonna be listening to your old fart music.
Nah.
Like my children are not gonna listen to my old fart music. They don't care what Lyrical Maniac is.
yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They listen to what's going on now. So, just appreciate that things move on. There was Maradona, but now footballers are different.
Yeah.
You know,
It's funny
I
you
still
mentioned
think
that though.
Maradona was But
It's funny you mentioned. So I was gonna ask you this later on in the interview, but so you're still writing then. Your pen's still sharp. Like you ain't. You know what I mean? You're still sparring.
bro, I'll be honest with you. Right now, I mean, I've written a couple of bits and pieces. I've done a track recently called "Fuck the Fans," which basically I actually wrote last year at this time.
See.
And we were just waiting to get it recorded, and then in June I managed to get down to Burnley and we recorded it with Seek the Northerner and DJ Woody.
Okay.
And then it was just a case of sitting there and waiting for the vinyl to be manufactured.
Right.
And finally, a year after it was written, it comes out. You know what I mean?
See.
So, but basically the thing with Fuck the Fans is like Seek the Northerner, really good guy. He'd been asking me to feature with him on tracks and whatever, and I just kept saying, look, if you send me beats and if I hear something, I might write something, but no promises. But basically, if it's shit, just don't use it.
See.
Just don't be polite to me because my name's Blade and whatever, and do you know what I mean? It's like I'm a nobody right now. If I'm doing it, you got to look at me like I've got the same kind of fire that you would want to hear and buy and spend money on.
Right.
And if you're not hearing that, then just cut me off the record. It's that simple. So the deal, I made an agreement with him. The agreement was basically I come out with if I'm going to do this and come out of retirement, then I want 3 things. One, I want to have control over the title.
Right.
Number 2, I want to have control over the concept. And number 3, you keep all the profits.
Damn.
And that's basically how I ran it. Because, I know we ain't going to make any money. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want him to be sat there calculating pennies and whatever. I'm just like, keep it. You know what I mean? Same as I did when I did the track with Dolby D. You know what I mean? There is no discussion. I don't care about the money. If I do this, it's for the fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, I got to say something on Fuck the Fans that, I've been wanting to say for years, because, I'm one of those guys where I believe, as much as I made music and I worked my way to making a life for myself, without the fan support, I wouldn't have had any of the opportunities.
Yeah.
So, Fuck the Fans, as much as it was Fuck the Fans, the title, basically how the title came about was because when I was talking to Seek the Northerner on the phone, he said to me, yeah, because the fans love you and blah, blah, you should write something about that. And I went, you just give me an idea.
He's flipped it on him.
So I said, give me 20 minutes, I'll call you back. So I sat there and I thought, yeah, fuck the fans. Fuck the fans. and then I wrote the first few bars and, you know what I mean? And I played it to him and he was like, yo, I think, when I told him the title, he was like, yo, are you trying to disconnect yourself from the fans?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you just wait to hear, what I've got in mind. And then obviously I flipped it and I'm in. And the rest was history, really.
That's crazy, man. I kind of had a similar vibe when I did my How to Lose Fans and Alienate Listeners. And it's the same kind of thing. It's just like, now you're really doing your own thing. And the mad thing about it is, real supporters are supporting you regardless. Real supporters, they get you. There's nothing you can say that they're not gonna get, because it's an inside joke. This whole you as an artist is an inside joke, and only your supporters get it. So you can come out and say what you need to say, but they know you, they know your heart, so they know how you mean it and what this actually means to you. So yeah, man, I feel the vibe. I understand the vibe. 100%.
Yeah, see, I thought the same way you're thinking there, but when I told Seek the title, he didn't get it. He was just like, yo, are you trying to alienate your fans? So I got a little bit concerned, thinking, shit, have I done something wrong here?
Nah, man. They're always gonna yeah, like real. Like I said, man, real supporters are gonna get it. They're gonna know you because I feel like I say this a lot, man. It's fans over fam because or fans over friends because true friends are your biggest fans and they're the ones who they really know you, man, because every time you're writing from the heart and you're saying things that a lot of times you don't even really say to the people that are really close around you. So they're really hearing how you feel about certain things. So they know you, like I said, man, they know you inside and out. You mentioned, like we spoke about selling CDs and obviously the business has changed a little bit. How you, being on the inside of it, actually, well, being on all sides of this game, you've been on all sides of the industry. You've been in labels, outside of labels, had your own label. You had labels as clients. How do you see how the game has changed, or what do you think the future is for artists, and how can artists, especially independent artists, which is what you've always been, how can they maximize and monetize their situations like now and in the future?
I mean, it's a hard one because it all depends on your work ethic. Yeah, and if you're prepared to put the work in, and you have all these sleepless nights and whatever, then you can make crazy money off of what you're doing. But we're living in a time where a lot of people just think they just find there and you know what I mean, and it just goes viral, and there you are, you're blown up. But it doesn't work because you know even when you're seeing all these people. I mean, I won't mention any names, yeah, because I don't think it's fair to. But I was doing CDs for one artist, and he was driving up in some flash cars, and I'm like, wow, is this what music is making for you now? one minute he's driving a Porsche, a brand new Porsche. Next minute he's driving something else, and next minute he's driving. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. But it was all expensive cars,
right?
Yeah, and like I sat in his car for 4 hours talking.
See.
Yeah, we were just talking, and he was like, "Yo, I didn't realize you were Blade." He's like, "Can you come and do an introduction or something, even a 4-bar verse or something?" Just and you know what I mean. So we were just talking, and when he realized I was Blade, you know, we sat in the car, we just talked and talked and talked. And bro, when I say like, and I shouldn't really, I'm not gonna mention names like I said.
Okay.
But my man starts feeling uncomfortable, so then he goes into his pocket and he pulls out. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's because it's hurting him now.
Right.
So he pulls it out, puts it in the dashboard.
Yeah.
While we're talking, it's dark. No one can see anything.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So then he goes, bro, don't be fooled, man. It's like, I ain't making no money off music.
Yeah.
It's all drugs. So what I'm saying is like, it's difficult to say who's making money from music, who's making money from doing illegal activity and whatever.
Yeah.
My main thing is, look, as long as you don't get caught, you're doing good. You know what I mean? Good luck to you, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't really involve myself in people's business in that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, but in terms of like monetizing music, from when I speak to some of these artists that are making money by other means.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me question whether people are actually making that kind of money through music.
Yeah.
You understand?
100%.
Like, because we're led to believe that music is making stupid amounts of money.
Yep.
But unless you're Ed Sheeran or Stormzy or someone, then I think it's hard. It's still hard.
Yeah.
And bro, everybody, their uncle, their mom, their cat, their dog, everybody's a rapper now.
Yeah. The game's changed.
So, and people keep talking about they got no money. So who's spending money on these?
It's super funny. I spoke to I guess you would class this person as a pop star, and we had a conversation, and their take on artists who are making money, or artists who even have backing from people that have money. They were like, it's only illegal money that props up this business. Like, unless you have illegal money to push into it, and you got a lot of people trying to wash money, like everyone you see, until they can get over that threshold where, again, you're getting to that Ed Sheeran level or even close to that, it's not going to be for you. And I think a little while ago, probably maybe a decade ago, I kind of decided that this was what I was going to do. I was going to do music, but I wasn't going to do anything. I wanted to be as legit as possible, and it took me a while to get there, but I got there 100% legit. And to me, it was like, there are going to be things I won't be able to have, but I'm going to be able to sleep well, and I'm going to be able to know that everything I have comes from my hard work, my graft, and it's super funny because like he's actually actually no, I can't even mention the name, man. But there's another is a rapper who has a similar name to you, and I remember having a conversation with him.
Oh, bro. No, don't even tell the story.
Yeah.
Look, I already know what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
if I know, others will know.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not to tell the story.
Yeah, it's not, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, music money is nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Music money
that's
is
what
nothing.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So you end up going, you ask me, how do you monetize this? My answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
You just look. I'll give you an example. I spoke to a friend of mine years ago,
Yeah.
and someone had asked us, how do you become a millionaire from music? Right? And me and him just kind of looked at each other and we pondered, and both of us were just kind of smiling at each other. And I was about to say it, but he said it. Right? And he goes, I know the answer to that. I know how you become a millionaire from music. And I was like, go on. I should have wrote it down so he knew I was thinking the same. Yeah. But he goes, yeah, you start off by being a billionaire.
Like I knew you were gonna say that.
You know what I mean? And I just thought, wow, there you go. That sums it up, innit?
It's so true, and it's funny as well because again we have been in similar situations, especially when you're talking about the industry side of things, where you're talking about like people with real money, and it's then when you realize that the music is a lost leader. The music is never the main thing. The music is kind of like a little advert to say, yo, I'm about, and then you capitalize off the music to do other things. And I've mentioned this many times about when I first started the clothing line and did the tour, and I made all the money off the clothes. I said to all the promoters, I don't want any money, just let me come through and open up a merch store. And every single night we made more money than everyone performing, more money than the promoters were getting through the door by selling t-shirts. Like we did same with the hats, and it's at a point where it's sad to say, and I love music, man. I really love music, and I do it because I love it. But at the same time, it's even the artists that I mentor, that I speak to, when they talk about, yo, I want to do this full time, I want to make money from it, the first thing I'm saying to them is, have you got your merch ready? How are you gonna set up your shows? Because they're the only two ways you're making your money, and you're setting up your shows to sell your merch. And then the only way you can sell merch though is through your music connecting to people, and people getting to a point where they're like, I like what you do, I like who you are, and I learned all that as well from selling CDs on the street, because it's never about the CD, it's about who you are. They talking to you and they're like, you know what, I don't even really like hip hop, but I like you, man. Let me give that. Yeah, here's a $5.
Yeah. Well, bro, years ago when I was when I did my first album, and before that, that's how I was making my money. It wasn't necessarily through selling the records, because the production cost was quite high.
Same.
Yeah, and I was financing everything myself, and we didn't have home recording studios. We had to pay for studios.
Yeah.
And engineers, and mixing guys, and this guy and that guy, but where I made a killing was with the merchandise.
Right.
I went on a 16-day tour. A 32-day tour in Europe, and I came back with over $100,000 in merch.
All right, cool. I need to fix up, man. I need to fix up.
but like I don't know. In 2006 February, we did an album launch party at Cargo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had about 20 different acts on stage. We had people from all over the country. What we did. It was a funny event, because when we tried to book Cargo, they turned it down.
Okay.
And they asked what it was for, and I said it was Blade's album launch. And they said, nah, I'm not interested. And I went, why? And they went, well, he's no longer relevant. It's going to be empty. And I'm like, what do you care? You get. So I argued with them, saying, what do you care? You're getting your money for the night.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, but we also want to take in bar money. Okay. So I thought, cool, I'm going to stay quiet for a couple of weeks, because I started planning this back in June of the year before. So I started planning this, and then I got my friend, and I said to him, call him up and tell him you're putting on a hip-hop event.
Right.
Yeah. And don't mention my name. Yeah, don't mention my name till it's too late. We've paid them, we've signed the agreement.
Yeah.
So he was like, cool. So I gave my friend the money. He booked it, and then we went ahead and we booked the night. And I started calling everybody from all over the country. And from then, I decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to set it up so that I fill that venue because of what he said. I was going to prove him wrong. So what I decided to do, and it gave me an idea. So what I decided to do was I decided to fill the venue without any Londoners being able to get in. So what I did was I called up MCs, artists, DJs, whatever that I knew from all over, from Plymouth, Penzance, Derby, Exeter, wherever.
Yeah.
And I said, right, your job is to fill a coach. Yeah. Charge everyone £6.
Right.
Yeah. That's for the coach. That's for the coach and the event. Sorry, it was £10 in total. So it was £4 for the coach and £6 for the entrance.
Okay.
Right. So basically, it was £6 to the entry, and then whoever wanted to pay the coach paid the £4 extra.
Right.
So £10, not a lot. We basically ended up getting just over 500 people from London get turned away on the night.
Jeez.
No one could get in.
I might have been one of them as well.
Well, I don't know. Oh, if you were there, but it was funny because like I remember Manage.
Yeah.
You know Manage.
Yeah.
Right. I up on stage. Sorry, 1 second.
Cool.
1 second.
Hey, I say you don't need to be listening to you lot are getting given gold right now, man.
So basically, what I did was I remember Manage, and I made a deal when on the night when I got to the place, the promoter, the guy who was running the club,
right.
He called me to the side. He goes, "That was a sly move you did." And I went, "Bro, I'm a survivor. I'll do what it takes." Yeah. And I said to him, "But do you remember something I said to you? If the place isn't filled, you're gonna eat those words." And I took that line out of Fist of Fury from Bruce Lee. Jeez. You're gonna eat those words, and he agreed. He goes, "It won't get packed." Blah blah. And because I mean, we'd already spoken a couple of weeks before, because he said when he saw the flyer, it was like it's Blade's night.
See,
already turned it down. And I'm like, well, it's too late. You can't do nothing about sign an agreement. You know what I mean? So anyway, when Manage got up on stage, I remember this. And I got another story to tell you on that one as well. But when Manage got up on stage, he's like, "Yo," let me rephrase it. So everybody else gets up on stage and they're like, "It's Derby in the house."
Yeah.
Birmingham in the house. Yeah. Exeter in the house. Yeah. And then Manage gets up on stage. He goes, "London in the house." Bro, he couldn't hear nothing from London. And you know what? But it was thanks to the guy who was running the night, or who's the manager of the place, turning it down and saying Blade was irrelevant, blah blah blah. I just thought, I'm going to show you. Do you know what I mean? So basically, I filled the place with all outsiders of London, and it was an amazing night. There was a guy that flew in from Japan.
Raw.
I'm not even joking, bro.
That's crazy.
I remember standing by the entrance, and this guy, I could see this Japanese guy. He was on his own, and he was trying to get in there. Wouldn't let him in.
See.
I've got one of the guys who was doing my security, and I'm like, "Look, please do me a favor. One of you run out there, chase that guy. He's just come all the way from Japan for this."
That's crazy.
And for this. And me and him were talking via email. He bought the ticket. I sent him his money back, and I said, "Look, bro, you're buying the ticket to fly. Come on, you're on my guest list."
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And I wanted to take him backstage and whatever. I never met the guy, but you know what I mean?
That's love,
But, you know, he came literally all the way from Japan. Not a word of a lie.
Damn.
And anyone who was there would have seen me talking to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But on that night alone, I made about 30 odd grand in merchandise. It was stupid. The money, stupid.
I was just saying, man, like that's, you're giving them that's like that story alone, and these details you're giving, that's money in someone's pocket. Like, people that are watching right now, Blade's putting money in your pocket. If you can he's giving you ideas, man, for free. You got to take those, man. That's gems right there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. You know what? The thing is, it's like, I just think when you even though I talk a lot. Sorry, one sec. Let me just turn this alarm off.
Cool, man.
Um, I set my alarm to do an interview with you at 8. Hold on. Where is it? Come on, I need to find you. All right, alarm is off.
Wiki, man.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, the thing is, when you listen to certain things people say, you know what I mean? You keep certain things in the back of your mind, and you go, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And use that as your fire. Yeah. And when that guy said to me the blade was irrelevant, I just thought, all right, we'll see.
That's literally, it's funny, man, because I'm such a I'm a positive person, but I really feed off negative energy, and I always love being told no or I can't do something, because to me it's like, now you've really given me that fire to really go and get it. And even kind of coming up in the scene, I've always kind of been the underdog, and every time I'm put in a place where I feel like, or I'm seeing, he ain't gonna do nothing. That's when I come through, and it's like, it's amazing to hear that story, because again from the outside, and it's funny as well you mention it, because I remember that night as well. Like, I don't know if I was even there, but I remember like the buzz around that time when the album dropped, and I would never have thought from the outside being like, oh, this venue would have turned you down. And that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, looking back, and
they did, bro. At the end of the night, me and my security guy, I had a personal security guard with me. Me and my personal security went and wrote on there, and went and wrote on a piece of paper, "Told you so," and tore it up, just like Bruce Lee did in Fist of Fury. Yeah. And I said to the guy, right, eat them words.
That's crazy, man.
You know what I mean? It's just one of them things, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you know what? For that particular night, one person I really need to thank, because like this guy believed in me, and he was out there like handing out flyers like you wouldn't believe. You know what I mean? Is my friend Richard.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone used to know him as Sam Seed.
Sam Seed.
Yeah. So if you were on the forums back in the day on UKHH.com and all that, you would have seen him on there.
Right.
Yeah, Sam Seed. It was his night.
See.
And basically, I approached him. Well, he's approached me a few times to do shows and stuff, and I just kept saying, look, you know what? Let's do it on a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, do it small event. Let's make something bigger. So, you know what I mean? And then I just focused on making it the album launch. You know what I mean? But that album launch was kind of special as well, because a few days before, someone got in touch with me. I forget her name now. Jody something, I forget. But she got in touch with me and basically said that her boyfriend had died.
Seeing, okay.
But he used to play Reflection in the car.
Seeing.
Right? Every time he was driving to work, that would inspire him, and he used to play that track all the time. It was like his favorite track or whatever.
Yeah.
So what I did was I got her to send me a picture. I made a massive A1 size or A0, the biggest size poster I could. Got the poster made up. And basically, as everyone was walking onto the stage, I made everybody sign the poster, including myself. Put it in a tube, sent loads of vinyl, CDs, private messages, and whatever. Ended up going into his coffin with him.
Oh, that's respect, man. That's respect.
Yeah, so it's one of those nights. But also on that particular night, I had Mr. Jam hosting, and
okay.
He was Mr. Jam, really good friend and everything. I'm really happy for the success he's had over the years.
Yeah.
It's like deserves it.
Yeah.
He started from listening to the kind of music that obviously we're into and whatever, but he's playing different music now and everything. Yeah. But regardless, I'm a big fan of his. I don't care if he's making dance music or hip hop or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just a fan, because that guy supported myself when I was going through a bad patch. He was one of the few guys that used to call me all the time.
Yeah.
And just inspire me, encourage me, like, don't give up, fuck the world, and you know what I mean? Yeah. And all that kind of stuff.
He's a real one. He's definitely a real dude, man. He's definitely a real guy, man. He's one of them guys that every time I used to go out to the building, he'd always be like, you know what I mean? Just, even though, and bearing in mind, I met him when he was already like pretty big, but he was always kind of like, how you doing? And record. He definitely has his finger on the pulse, and he knows about all the up and coming artists, and he knows about the UK hip hop scene very well. Like, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of people just kind of saying he's changed and all that, and I'm like, you know what? I don't see it. You know what I mean? Even if he doesn't respond to messages to me and whatever, it's like I don't see it as any bad thing. I just see it as my man busy and good luck to him.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? He's a real dude, like you said,
Yeah.
and you know, because I've had a couple of people kind of every now and then going, "Have you heard the music is playing now?" It's not really. I'm just like, you know what? You're so fucking closed-minded.
Yeah. Nah.
Don't. Man, not everybody wants to hear the same backpacker hip hop that you're listening to still.
Yep.
I mean, come on, man. Things have moved on.
Yeah.
It's like I respect anybody who's doing something where there's a skill involved.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. It's like I could sit there and watch a woman running around a little yard with a dog jumping over things and going, yeah, that's skillful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look how time they put into this. And look at what I might not be into dogs or into the dogs jumping. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's still like, think of the effort that goes into making that work.
100%, man. Skill's a skill.
So, yeah, skill is a skill. So I don't care if if someone's making dance music or hip hop or grime or jazz or whatever, as long as it's done well. And that's the thing. It's like as an artist, once I retired, once I walked away from being an artist, that's when I opened my mind and said, you know what? As long as it's done well, I don't care. I'll listen to it.
Yeah, I think like as you grow as well, man, you just respect things and you respect things in a different way. You see things in a different light. And I feel like when I was a lot younger, we were way more judgmental about what people did. And as you get older, you really don't give a fuck. You're just like, man, he's feeding his family, man. Let him do what he's doing, innit? And I feel like that's the attitude that more people should have. Like, be happy for people and just let people grow, let people move on. And I feel like that whole idea of so and so changed. Like you said, he's busy now. Like, you can't always be. There's people that I used to know when they weren't as famous as they are now, and I might call them and they won't pick up my call. Why should they're busy? They're like, you know what I mean, they're out working, trying to feed their family. So you kind of got to let people grow and let people do their thing.
Recently, I've been getting like a few people calling me up on Facebook Messenger, right? Calling me up at 1-2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know who they are, but I know that if you're calling me, either you're living abroad or you're in England and you're drunk as fuck and you just want to call. And either that, either of those, just for me, don't really work at the moment. It's like, look, you know what? I'm in lockdown. I don't want to catch viruses by talking to people on Messenger.
Yeah. Through the phone, man.
Exactly. You know what? Before we started this interview, right, I was there scrapping around trying to find this my mask. Yeah. So I didn't want to catch it, but you know what? I'm not gonna even show you what I'm doing. One sec. I can't find my mask at the moment. So
oh, you might be
sorry, bro, couldn't resist.
Oh, that's a killer, man. Hey, you know what? I want to thank you for your time, man. We're gonna do just before I let you go, because we spoke a couple of days ago, and you're in the process at the moment of building a new studio.
Do you want to say that?
Yeah, like you're doing your thing in it, and it's like I'm kind of like a couple of steps behind you. So before this whole thing shut down, I was literally about to move out of this place into a place where I would have my own studio out in the garden or whatever, and that's exactly the kind of thing I want to do. And as soon as I get that, I'm gonna have you down and we're gonna do a proper interview, man, because there's too many stories, there's too many gems to really fit in, like, you know what I mean, in just the one interview. And I want to say as well, big up everybody on the live chat on YouTube. This is our most watched live so far, the most amount of messages, the most amount of comments. Like, it's definitely been this is the high point of what we've been doing, so thank you for that. 100%, man. It's been a proper pleasure.
Yeah, wicked, man. And yeah, likewise, you know what, bro? Like I said, first time I met you was when you were selling CDs on the streets.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I just when I walked past, I was like, I gotta say something.
Nah,
you know what I mean? And for me, my thing was, I wanted to save you money.
Yeah.
I didn't know how you were doing your CDs, but
Yeah.
if you were paying £1 everywhere, because everyone back then was charging £1 a unit.
Yeah, pretty
So
much, yeah.
if you were paying that, I was gonna say to you, bro, I can do it for you for a hell of a lot less.
Yeah.
Like half the price, even less than half the price. So I was trying to save you money, and that's where the conversation started from. Because straight away, I'm just seeing kids on the street doing what I was doing, and I could have done with a little bit of help, but no one was there to help.
Yeah, you've done,
You know what I mean?
that's another thing as well. Like, again, man, I'm trying to let you go, yeah, but I've got so many things I just want to just say first. Like, a lot of people that I speak to, obviously, we have a lot of mutual friends, but every time your name comes up, it's always to do with, it's almost like you've been a mentor to so many artists in this game, so many business people that have taken their business and gone onto higher things. And your name comes up a lot in just giving people advice on how things go, and it's very different from someone giving advice who hasn't done it. You're always giving advice on things that you know and that you've done and that you know that work, and it's like it's so valuable. Even the story you just told today is so valuable, and I don't think I hope you understand how appreciated you are in the game to us.
Yeah, no, wicked. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. And two things I want to say, right? Just to counteract that. The first one being, if I can remember it, right? The first one being, like, when I was trying to advise people, the important thing that I try and tell them is that, look, that worked for me. It might work for you. So when you go into it with your eyes open and learn from it. Because you might be able to take something from that situation and make it work for you.
Right.
Ultimately, I want to see you work.
Yeah.
I want to see you do succeed. But at the same time, we all know music doesn't really pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, what you want to do is somehow find a way to turn your music into a service, because services pay.
That's it.
Yeah. Right. And the other thing I wanted to say is, I remember on one Valentine's, you put a post up about me.
Okay.
I remember it being Valentine's because I was at a Thai restaurant with the missus.
Right.
Nagging me for the constant beep, beep, beep. And I wasn't even on Facebook back then, bro. But I couldn't believe, like, you must have had like 600 plus comments, and everyone, I just, you know what? The thing is, bit by bit, I'm helping people, trying to advise them and give them discounts and helping them as much as I can and meeting their deadlines. But you don't realize how many people you're actually helping.
Yeah.
And then the number of people that went in there and were making comments, and people like Michael Parkinson and whatever, and I'm thinking, wow.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, I was amazed that, I'm like, really? Did I help that many? I swear it was only 3 people.
Yeah. Nah, man, I think I'm a kind of person that I always want to give people their flowers, and I'm very grateful of the position that I've been put in, and I always want to make sure that I big up the people, because everyone always says, oh, it's self-made, but I'm not self-made, man. It's on the shoulders of giants. And there's a lot of people that have helped me, and you've definitely been one of them. So yeah, man, big up you every single time, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man. And yeah, when you're ready with your garden one, I'm there, bro.
Hey, listen, man, I saw that you did some skillful DIY work there, man. Some skillful work there. So
I've got builders doing it. I'm just trying to, you know what? I'm not sure how it's gonna work out, but I've got ideas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sick,
I might come to you and ask you for some ideas.
Hey, man, we can do that. Definitely.
Yeah, cool. Because what I don't want to do is do it like it's an interview. I want to do it more like it's a conversation.
Yeah. That's exactly
like what we've had just here. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
An interview. I hate them ask a question, and you know that I've done so many interviews where people are asking you questions, then you answer, and they don't pick up on something you've said and work on it. They just, she's looking for the next question.
That's why I don't have anything out here. Literally, all I had was when you started, and we just go from there. Because there's also as well, there's things that I'm forgetting as well. But I want it to flow, and obviously I can't do that with everybody. But obviously we have a relationship outside of whatever in it. So I just feel like,
yeah, but bro, don't get it twisted though, bro. Right? You're forgetting things not because there's so much going on, but because you're getting old.
That's true as well, man. I'm catching up, man. I'm catching up with you. I don't care. I'm catching up, man. It's definitely happening, man. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Stay on the line. I'm gonna say goodbye to these people. I'm gonna chat to you. So let me just switch views. Big up everybody who came in and was on the live. Like, this interview is definitely a high point. I want you to subscribe. Please subscribe. We're trying to work our way up. We're almost on 1,000 subscribers. So please hit the subscribe button. please share the content. This is our 7th interview, I think. So please share the content and just let us know who else you want to hear from. Because like you've seen, yeah, these we're talking to legends, man. People that have so much insight into this business, into this game, and not just that, into the art itself. People that really respect the art, and people that really built the art and got it to where it is today. So once again, thank you to Blades. Thank you to you guys, and we're just gonna keep things moving. We'll be back here tomorrow. I ain't even gonna tell you who we got. I'll tell you that later. But guys, peace and love. Thank you very much. We out.